Michael was a young businessman who dealt in cosmetics. He wasn't the richest man in town, but he was honest, hardworking, and full of dreams. One day, he met Sarah, a beautiful university student with a soft voice and a smile that seemed to heal pain. She had recently lost her father, and her mother, a struggling widow, could barely afford her school fees. Michael noticed her sadness and felt something stir in his heart. At first, he offered little help, books, transport money, small things. But soon, he began paying her fees completely. Sarah was shocked by his generosity. "Why are you doing all this for me?" she once asked. Michael smiled. "Because you deserve a chance to finish school." That was how it began, simple, selfless, and pure. Sarah started visiting him often. He'd take her out on weekends, buy her gifts, and show her a kind of love she had never known. To Michael, Sarah was more than a girlfriend, she was the woman he wanted to build a future with. But Sarah was young, and life at the university was full of distractions. Her best friend Becky, a light-skinned and soft-spoken girl, often told her, "You're lucky to have a man like Michael. He truly loves you." Sarah would smile faintly, brushing it off. "He's nice, Becky. But I'm not sure nice is enough." Michael didn't know those words. He was too busy loving her, too blinded by hope to see that sometimes, love alone isn't enough to keep someone who doesn't understand its value. As months passed, Michael's love for Sarah only deepened. He made sure her tuition was always paid on time, surprised her with gifts, and took her to nice places whenever he could afford it. People often teased him, saying he was too soft, but he didn't care. To him, Sarah was worth every sacrifice. Sarah, on the other hand, was changing. University life was shaping her, new friends, new influences, and a growing awareness of her own beauty. She began to feel that Michael, a simple businessman who sold cosmetics in the local market, was beneath her. Still, she stayed because his money made life easier. Becky, her best friend, saw it all. She had always admired Michael's quiet strength and sincerity. Whenever Sarah complained about him being too ordinary, Becky would remind her, "Sarah, real love isn't about flashy cars or designer clothes. It's about who stands by you when everyone else leaves." Sarah would laugh. "Becky, you sound like his lawyer." "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing." Michael noticed the shift, the delayed replies, the shorter visits, the sudden disinterest, but he told himself it was stress from school. He trusted her too much to suspect anything. One evening, as they sat at a small restaurant, Michael looked at Sarah and said softly, "One day, when we're married, I'll make sure you never struggle again." Sarah forced a smile, nodding absent-mindedly while checking her phone. She had no idea that soon, another man would drive into her life and change everything, and that her laughter that night would be one of the last moments Michael would ever see her happy. It was a bright Thursday afternoon when Sarah's life took a new turn. She was walking out of the university gate with Becky when a sleek black car slowed beside them. Behind the wheel sat a young man, well-dressed, clean-shaven, and confident, the type that drew attention without even trying. His name was Jackson. "Hey beautiful, can I give you a ride?" he called out with a smile that oozed money and charm. Sarah hesitated, pretending to be shy, but when Becky tugged her arm, she whispered, "Relax. He's just asking for my number." And she gave it to him. Becky was furious. "Sarah. What about Michael? The man who pays your fees and treats you like a queen." Sarah rolled her eyes. "Becky, don't be dramatic. I just want to have some fun. Let's see what he can offer. I won't marry him." That evening, Sarah's phone buzzed non-stop. Jackson texted her sweet words and promised her a life of comfort. Within a week, he was sending her money for clothes, taking her out to fancy restaurants, and driving her to places she had never been. Sarah's world suddenly felt brighter, more exciting. Michael, meanwhile, couldn't understand why the woman he loved was slowly slipping away. Calls went unanswered. Messages got short replies. The warmth in her voice had turned cold. Becky watched in silence, torn between loyalty to her friend and pity for the man who had given everything. She could already see it, the beginning of Sarah's downfall. But Sarah couldn't. Not yet. Weeks turned into months, and the distance between Michael and Sarah grew wider. She barely visited anymore, and when she did, her smile seemed forced, her laughter hollow. Michael noticed the difference but blamed himself. Maybe he wasn't giving her enough attention. Maybe she was just busy with school. Love makes fools of good people, and Michael was no exception. One evening, Michael waited outside Sarah's hostel, hoping to surprise her with dinner. He waited for hours until he saw a familiar black car drive in. Jackson stepped out first, holding Sarah's hand as she laughed carelessly. Michael froze. His heart felt like it stopped beating. He didn't cause a scene. He just turned around and walked away, the sound of her laughter haunting him long after. The next day, he called her. "Sarah, can we talk?" Her voice was cold. "Michael, I'm busy. Don't call me all the time, it's irritating." He sighed. "Did I do something wrong?" She paused, then said flatly, "You're just not my type anymore." That night, Michael sat alone in his small apartment, staring at the ceiling. He had built his world around her, and now that world was collapsing. Becky visited him the next day, bringing food. She found him broken but still defending Sarah. "Maybe she's just confused," he said. Becky looked at him sadly. "Michael, sometimes love blinds us to the truth." But Michael couldn't stop loving Sarah, not yet. Life has a cruel way of testing hearts. Just when Michael thought things couldn't get worse, fate struck hard. One morning, his phone rang, a call from the border office. His entire shipment of cosmetics had been seized by customs. He had borrowed heavily to buy those goods, believing it would be his breakthrough. Now, everything was gone. Michael sat in silence for hours, his hands trembling. All his savings, all his dreams, vanished. Out of desperation, he called Sarah. She picked up, sounding irritated. "Sarah," he began weakly, "I just lost everything. Customs took my goods. I don't know what to do." There was a pause, then she said coldly, "Michael, I'm not your wife. Don't make your problems mine." "Sarah, please, I just needed someone to talk to." "Then talk to your mirror," she snapped and hung up. He stared at his phone, unable to believe what he'd just heard. The same woman who once said she'd love him forever had now turned her back when he needed her most. Meanwhile, Becky heard the news and couldn't hold back her tears. She began visiting Michael daily, bringing food, cleaning his house, and doing her best to lift his spirit. "Don't give up," she told him gently. "You'll rise again." Sarah, on the other hand, was busy with Jackson, dining in fancy restaurants, wearing new clothes, and showing off her new life. She laughed louder now, forgetting the man who once carried her through pain. But karma always watches, patiently waiting for its turn. Days turned into weeks, and Michael's life became a shadow of what it once was. His shop was empty, debts piled high, and even his smile had disappeared. The man who once had everything was now fighting just to survive. But through that darkness, Becky remained. She visited him almost every day, sometimes bringing food, sometimes just sitting quietly beside him. Her presence became his comfort, her words his strength. "You gave so much to someone who didn't deserve it," she told him softly one evening. "But one day, you'll get double what you lost." Michael forced a smile. "Becky, I don't even know where to start again." "Start where you are," she replied. "And let me help." One afternoon, while visiting him, Becky stepped outside to make a call. Michael overheard parts of her conversation, something about customs and releasing seized goods. When she returned, she acted normal, refusing to explain. 2 days later, Michael's phone rang. It was the customs office. His goods were cleared, ready for pickup. He couldn't believe it. He rushed to Becky's house, almost breathless. "Becky, it's a miracle. They released everything." Becky smiled quietly. Then maybe miracles still exist. Michael didn't know that she had called her uncle, a senior customs officer, who made it happen. She didn't want praise. She just wanted him to smile again. That night, for the first time in months, Michael slept peacefully. His heart was healing, not from Sarah's love, but from Becky's kindness. By the next month, Michael's shop was alive again. The shelves were full, customers returned, and word spread that Michael the cosmetics man was back in business. He worked tirelessly, determined never to fall again. Each time he looked at his thriving shop, he silently thanked Becky. Becky continued to stand by him, helping him sort goods, handle customers, and manage sales. They laughed often now, and their friendship grew naturally, built not on attraction but on respect and shared pain. Michael found peace in her presence. Meanwhile, Sarah's fairy tale life with Jackson was starting to lose its shine. Jackson was generous, yes, but also unpredictable. Some days he showered her with gifts, other days, he ignored her completely. Still, Sarah stayed, convinced she had upgraded her life. One evening, Becky suggested that Michael reach out to Sarah, not out of love, but closure. Michael chuckled bitterly. "Sarah left when I needed her most. Why should I go back?" Becky smiled. Sometimes, letting someone face what they lost is its own revenge. That night, Michael crafted a plan. He'd pretend to still be struggling, just to see where Sarah's heart truly stood. Not out of vengeance, but curiosity. He wanted to know if she'd changed, if she'd feel even a drop of regret. The next day, he called her. "Sarah," he said softly, "can we talk?" There was hesitation on her end. Then came her cold, familiar voice. "About what, Michael?" He smiled faintly. "About us." And that single call set the stage for the truth that was about to unfold. Sarah agreed to visit Michael the following weekend. She assumed he was still broke, maybe even desperate for her help. To her, it was a chance to show off, to remind him what he had lost. That Saturday afternoon, she walked into his house wearing a new designer dress Jackson had bought her. Her perfume filled the air as she smiled coldly. Michael greeted her calmly. His living room looked modest, no signs of his recovered success. "You said you wanted to talk," she asked, crossing her legs. He nodded. "Sarah, I just wanted to know what happened to us. You promised to stand by me." Sarah scoffed. "Michael, please. You and I were never meant to be. I can't waste my youth struggling with a man who sells makeup in a market. I've moved on." Michael lowered his head, pretending to be hurt. "I just wanted a chance to make things right." Sarah laughed. You can't even make things right for yourself. Look at you." Her words cut deep, but Michael stayed calm. "Thank you for being honest," he said quietly. "That's all I needed to hear." When she left, Michael finally smiled, not out of joy, but relief. He had seen her true heart without disguise. Later that night, he called Becky. His voice was calm, warm, and certain. "Becky," he said softly, "I've made my decision. I don't want to chase shadows anymore. I want peace. I want you." And for the first time, Becky was speechless. Weeks passed, and Michael's life bloomed again. His business thrived beyond his imagination, and his quiet friendship with Becky had turned into something deeper. They were inseparable, partners not just in trade, but in life. She brought laughter where there had once been pain. Meanwhile, Sarah's fairy tale began to crumble. Jackson had grown distant. He stopped answering her calls and canceled their usual weekend outings. When she confronted him, he brushed her off. "I've been busy," he said curtly. Something felt wrong, but she ignored the signs. Then one morning, Sarah woke up alone in their hotel room. Jackson was gone. On the table lay a short note and a small bundle of cash. Her heart pounded as she read the letter. "Take care of yourself with this. Don't call me again. I'm a married man with kids." Her hands trembled. The room spun. She sank to the floor, crying uncontrollably. The same luxury that had made her feel superior now felt like poison. She tried calling him, blocked. Messaging him, no response. Jackson was gone, and so was her illusion of love. For the first time, Sarah thought of Michael. The man she mocked, the man she left in his darkest hour. Regret hit her like a wave, heavy and merciless. "What have I done?" she whispered through tears. Outside, the rain began to fall, as if the heavens were echoing her sorrow. A few weeks later, Sarah found herself wandering through the local market, her eyes swollen from sleepless nights. She needed to buy soap and lotion, the same products Michael once sold her with love. As she walked, her heart froze. There he was, Michael, standing confidently behind his counter, smiling as he attended to customers. And beside him, was Becky. Becky laughed softly as she helped pack items, her belly slightly rounded. She was pregnant. Sarah's chest tightened. She approached slowly, her voice trembling. "Michael." "Becky, is this really you?" Michael turned, his expression calm but distant. "Sarah, good afternoon." Sarah's voice cracked. You're back in business." "Yes," he replied, glancing at Becky. "And better than before." Sarah swallowed hard, her eyes glistening. I'm happy for you." She forced a smile, but tears betrayed her. That night, she cried until dawn. The next Sunday, she cooked Michael's favorite meal, jollof rice and fried chicken, and took it to his house, hoping to make peace. But when she arrived, the smell of food already filled the air. Becky was in the kitchen, humming softly as she cooked. "Sarah," she said gently, "you shouldn't have come." Sarah's voice trembled. "You stole him from me." Michael walked in, his tone calm but firm. "No, Sarah. You lost me when you chose money over love. Becky didn't steal me, she stayed." Sarah dropped the food, tears streaming down her face. As she walked away, she finally understood, love is not found in luxury, it's proven in loyalty. And for Sarah, that lesson came far too late.